studios of the Metro News Radio Network in Morgantown, this is West Virginia's premier sports talk show.
From Weirton to Welch, Martinsburg to Matewan, and all points in between, this is the Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Northside Automotive, Route 19 in Summersville. We'll beat the advertised price of any other dealer in the state, guaranteed. And now, sitting in for Tony Caridi, here's Brad Howe.
Hi, everyone. Good evening across the state of West Virginia and beyond. Welcome into the Northside Automotive Statewide Sportsline for Friday, October 30th. Garrett, October 30th, 2015.
Moving right along.
I'm joined in studio, as you just heard, by the G-Man, Garrett Cullen. Good evening, Garrett.
How we doing, man?
We're good. You doing all right?
Yeah.
Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, we've got a big night of high school football, but trying to move on from what we saw last night.
Big night of high school football that we'll get to a little bit later in the show. We'll give you a preview as you get ready for high school game night coming up at 9:30 this evening. But here's what we've got for you tonight, folks. We've got Tony standing by the way. Tony Caridi standing by on the phones. He's going to join us here in just a minute. But here's what I want to tell everybody that's listening. Here's the good news if you're a Mountaineer football fan, right? Garrett, you want some good news?
That'd be great.
Coming off of last night?
Yeah.
Here's the good news. October's pretty much over, right? Just got one day left. I know it's been rough. It was rough last night, but it's over. We understand it's been a tough 4 weeks, and we're here for you on the Sportsline. If you need to vent, if you need to let off some steam, we'll serve as an evening version of Hoppy's Talk Line Steam Release tonight. We're here. If you need to get something off your chest, give us a call, 1-800-765-8255, 1-800-765-TALK. We'll work it out together. We're here to help. Feel free, call us, vent, talk, give your opinion. Where's this Mountaineer team? Where's it going? What's coming? What are expectations? Does this team win out? Does it lose out? Where are you? Whatever it may be, we're here for you. 1-800-765-8255, or you can tweet me at BradHowe07, at Brad HOWE07, or you can tweet Garrett at Garrett Cullen. So that's coming up here in just a minute. Feel free, give us a call. Speaking of phones, let's go to the phones. Bring in Tony Caridi. Tony, welcome to the program.
And good evening to you, Senator.
Good evening. You well? You all right? You make it back okay?
I'm good. We got home. I got in my house about 5:30 this morning. It was a nice, smooth trip back home. Just a little bit of a late night, but other than that, it was all good.
All right. Well, good. Well, let's start. Tough October. We knew it would be difficult when the schedule came out. We've said this ad nauseum, toughest schedule in Mountaineer history. Here's my issue with it, though. As you know, we've talked about this before, that Oklahoma State game, in my opinion, was one that you had to get. The disappointing part of the other games is just simply the margin to defeat. I thought West Virginia would be at least in a couple of these, especially last night. Were you surprised that the offense didn't perform a little better last night and only put up 10 points?
I was surprised, to be quite honest with you, because I thought that actually West Virginia would have an easier go of scoring against TCU than perhaps they would have against Oklahoma and Baylor. So that was a disappointment. However, as the day has gone on, I've kind of tried to run at this and think about this month that's gone by from a bunch of different angles. A couple things or themes keep coming back to me, and one is I think that, so that you don't run and jump off the Westover Bridge, one thing is that we're never as good as we think we are. We're never as bad as we think we are. And, in sports, I think, number one, you probably need to apply that rule. The thing that is the unknown, although we've played these teams over the last month, is we don't know exactly, in the big universe of college football, exactly what it is that we're looking at. Is TCU and is Baylor, are those two schools, legitimately national championship contender teams? If that's the case, then I think that we would think of one thing. If they stumble along here in the month of November, and that is possible, certainly with Baylor because of their quarterback injury, then we'll have a better thought of exactly what it was that we went through. The fact is that this team and this program has never been asked to do what it was just asked to do in its history, and they're only the fourth team to do it in the last 20-plus years, play what they just played, back-to-back top five teams on the road. And so there's just a bunch of thoughts. I think that it comes back to now we'll know. And by that I mean next week against Tech, the following week against Texas, the following week against Kansas, the following week against Iowa State, the following week against Kansas State. then we'll actually know exactly what it is that we just went through. So if we continue to falter and go backward, then obviously you've got a major situation on your hands here that you didn't get any better. If you can come out of this stretch here and now show some life starting next Saturday, and now things are starting to click, and you can hang in there, which will be very difficult to do just physically. I think this defense is really banged up right now. Then at that point, then I think you can make a full assessment of the situation.
And Tony, specifically on the game last night and that Mountaineer defense trying to contain Trevon Boykin, what was your take on Boykin's play last year against the Mountaineers? A very average game for him, but he was as advertised last night, wasn't he?
He was, Garrett. I think a year ago he was still learning this offense. I think that Doug Meacham and Sonny Cuban, their offensive coordinators, were still learning what he could do. Last night I saw a player that was absolutely, totally comfortable with what he was being asked to do, and I think he had two coordinators there that are totally comfortable in what he can do. He became a much more dynamic force last night with his ability to run that speed option, and then when plays did break down, just make Pat White, Major Harris combined-esque plays. And so he's throwing the heck out of it, too. I mean, he threw some beautiful balls last night. I just think he's a kid that's playing at this point mentally so well that's difficult to reach that. It's hard for quarterbacks or any athlete to get to that point, and right now he's riding a big-time high.
Go back to the offense for a second. We spoke earlier this week on the show about the need for West Virginia to get some sort of intermediate offense going. We had looked at the Baylor game, and it felt as if it was turning into an offense that was run the ball or throw it deep. Again, last night, that's what it was as well. There wasn't much of an intermediate game. Now, I will say the deep ball was there more often last night, and we're back to that old adage that players have to make plays. But at the same time, do you continue to be concerned like I am that the intermediate passing game still has not come along?
Yes. The intermediate passing game has to be a strength of this offense for this offense to work well, because just by percentage alone, Brad, you're not going to be able to complete, a high percentage of those deep balls. It's just that's the reality of the situation. Although last night, I'm still shaking my head. I mean, those are 4 catchable balls inside the 10-yard line. It just drives you crazy. But to answer your question, absolutely, you've got to be strong in the intermediate passing game so that other things can open up for you, and we have not consistently been strong in that capacity.
What was your take on the running game yesterday? Wendell Smallwood ends up with 113 yards at the end of the night, but a lot of that came late when really it was kind of out of hand. But what was your take on the offensive line and the running game from yesterday?
I thought the offensive line was just okay, if that, last night. I think that, again, you were playing without one of your starters, which made you take Pankey and move him to tackle. Now, he was the tackle last year, but you take another player who's in a backup role normally, and he starts at the guard spot. But regardless, I thought they were just okay. I think Smallwood's really, really good. If you take a look at his numbers and his average per carry, based on what we just went through in this past month, and even though he's had a bad ankle, he's been the guy that's been he's really the only guy you could say offensively that has been consistently good. And so I think that they're okay, but obviously there's work to be done all around on the offense, and the O-line is included in that group.
All right, buddy. We'll let you run, but before we do, non-football related here, I want you to give a quick little announcement of something that's happening here with a bunch of people of our on-air folks for November. Give us a quick rundown of what's going on.
Absolutely, and we're going to call on our loyal Sportsline listeners, and we encourage people to pass the word on. Obviously, Sunday marks the 1st of November, and there are 12 of us that are on the air for West Virginia Radio Corporation, not only in Morgantown with Metro News, but down in Charleston as well. And we've got 12 on-air people, all guys, because what we're doing is we're growing our beards. We're not going to shave our beards for the entire month of November. We're doing No Shave November, and we're going to try to raise money, and we're going to try to raise awareness for the dreaded disease of Alzheimer's. And all of the monies will be raised, will go to the West Virginia Alzheimer's Association. So we're really starting this weekend. There are 12 of us. The folks at the Alzheimer's Association down in Charleston have really been great in helping us out. We've got a website which is up and running right now, and it will allow people to make easy donations. So we're going to just grow our beards, and we're going to talk about it a good bit on this show and on social media as well. We'll show you how the beard growth is going, and we're going to encourage you, if you can make a donation of $10 or $25 or whatever it is that you want to, donate. We're going to just kind of add up all the money, and at the end of the month of November, we'll have long beards, and the folks at the Alzheimer's Association will be the recipients of this. It's a horrible disease. It's obviously, in the state of West Virginia alone, there are over 40,000 people that are suffering from it. That will double by 2050. The caregivers in West Virginia, there are over 100,000 caregivers, which sometimes is even more difficult than those that are dealing with the disease because, studies show that, number one, 2 out of 3 people that are diagnosed with Alzheimer's are women, and oftentimes the male in the house becomes the caregiver, and studies show that just under 40% of those caregivers, their rate of death of the caregiver is 40% higher, 36% higher actually, than their average person. So if you're 75 years old, you've got a 36% chance of dying before your normal group would because you've been administering care to an Alzheimer's patient. It just strikes so badly. So the long and the short of it is this. We're going to do this. We're going to be talking about it for a month. We encourage you to donate, spread the word. If you'd like to follow, if you'd even like to do it yourself, you could certainly do that. Here's the website. It's really simple to do, NoShaveWV.com, NoShaveWV.com. Coach Hunter has never grown a beard in his life. He's doing it. Hoppy Kurtzul's doing it. Brad's doing it. Randy Goose Jerko is in on it. Just a bunch of people. Steve Bishop down at V100 in Charleston. Johnny Vincent down in Charleston. Who else am I missing here? Matt Kelly, WKKW. Kevin Conley, WVAQ. We're all doing it for the Alzheimer's Association. We encourage people to check it out. NoShaveWV.com. Easy, great website to make a quick donation.
All right, good enough. Good stuff. We'll let you run, and we'll catch up. We'll see you back here first of the week.
All right, guys, thanks.
All right, take care. There he is, Tony Caridi checking in. Folks, I see you holding on the lines. The phones are packed. I see you. I promise we will get to you. We're going to get a break in now, and then it's all you when we come back. Stick with us. We're back after this.
Have you ever wondered just who are the Friends of Coal? Well, there are 50,000 West Virginia families who support the state's coal industry, and they look a lot like you. Honest, hardworking, good neighbors who want a future for themselves and their state. They're coal miners, housewives, school teachers, mechanics, doctors, college professors, pizza delivery guys, your friends. The Friends of Coal know and understand the importance of the coal industry to our state's economy. They know about the 60,000 jobs the coal industry creates in our state. They know about the $25 billion the industry pumps into our economy. And they know that without coal, our state would face an economic catastrophe. Come to think of it, that sounds like most West Virginians. Let Congress know you are a proud West Virginian, and you are a friend of coal.
Coal is West Virginia.
The field of corrections is fast-growing and full of opportunities for advancement. Right now, the West Virginia Division of Corrections has openings for male and female correctional officers throughout the state. If you have a high school diploma or GED and can pass a drug test, visit WVDOC.com to see job listings and apply. These are state jobs with great benefits and an accelerated hiring process to get you on your way quickly. Visit WVDOC.com today. An equal opportunity employer.
Come on, man, we're going to be late. We need to leave.
Yeah, we need to hurry. Let's go.
Please slow down. You are entering a work zone.
Oh, man, they're working on the road. We're not going to make it.
You are approaching a work zone. Please slow down.
What is that?
It's just the GPS. Don't pay attention to it.
Slow down, slow down, slow down.
When you speed in a work zone, you are endangering your life and the lives of others. Slow down. It's the law.
Be a smart driver. Don't speed in work zones.
The safety message from the West Virginia Department of Transportation Division of Highways, saving one life at a time.
All Medicare-eligible individuals. It's time for open enrollment. Take advantage of the health plan's Medicare plans with benefits such as Silver Sneakers gym membership, an extensive list of doctors and hospitals. Contact us 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week at 1-877-847-7915 or visit healthplan.org/Medicare. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, copayments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits and/or copayments, coinsurance may change on January 1 of each year.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes. On Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
To navigate any map, you need a legend. Celebrating the most awarded SUV lineup ever. Jeep Cherokee 2015 Four-Wheeler of the Year. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And introducing Jeep Renegade, the most capable small SUV ever. Now get an additional $500 bonus cash at the Jeep Celebration event. Get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited.
When something is missing from the picture, it doesn't make sense. Without the right people, your work site is just a site. Your office is just a space. Let's Train West Virginia has grant funding for on-the-job training in today's in-demand careers. Workers learn while they earn, and companies can be reimbursed up to $10,000 per eligible new hire. So qualified employees and satisfied employers complete the picture. Learn more at letstrainwv.com.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Welcome back inside Northside Automotive, statewide Sportsline, Friday edition. Brad Howe alongside Garrett Cullen. Quick reminder, you only have 1 day left to do this. Garrett, if you want to experience Fright Night at Glade Springs Resort, you still have to get there, but you got to go tonight or tomorrow. Ends October 31st. Or you can sign up for Ace's Zombie Run, which takes place tomorrow. There's plenty to see and do in wild, wonderful West Virginia. For more ideas, check out the events calendar at go2wv.com. And don't forget to share your adventures on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram with the hashtag go2wv. Real adventure, wild, wonderful West Virginia. You'll find it here. As promised, we're here for you if you need to vent, voice your opinion, get anything off your chest, steam release. To steal Hoppy Kercheval's term, we're here for you. Let's go to the phones. We're joined by Dylan in Ripley. Dylan, thanks for calling. Welcome to the show.
I'd like to see what y'all think about the rumor about Rich Rodriguez coming back to West Virginia.
Okay. Thank you, Dylan. Well, that's one, Garrett, that if there's a coach's opening, I'll answer it this way.
You have to have an opening first.
Yeah, if there's an opening, we'll have plenty of time to dive into Rich Rodriguez. I think as far as the stuff that has been out there, we addressed this earlier in the week, I think as far as the stuff that's been out there, I find it extremely hard to believe that Athletic Director Shane Lyons has flown to Arizona twice to meet with Rich. So I will just simply leave it at that.
Give me a credible source on that, and then we'll pay more attention to that.
Yeah, but if there happens to be a job opening, then there'll be plenty of time to discuss candidates. Dylan, thanks for the phone call. Back to the phones. Jim from Newton checking in. Jim, thanks for calling.
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're good, thank you.
All right, first time caller, lifelong blue and gold, man.
Thank you for calling.
Okay, what I'm just calling about is this Big 12 conference. I think it's a bad fit. It's something that this is what we're going to contend with, I believe, in this conference. And for here on out, I just don't think we can compete with 3, 4 power teams year in and year out. We can't recruit with them. You know, you look at TCU, they came in the same year we did, you know, and they've been elite since they've got there. We struggle, you know, with these schools, and it's just a bad fit. You know, I realize that the athletic department is making a boatload of money from this deal. I understand that, but from the fans' perspective, it's just it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, And it's just not football. Look at men's basketball and women's basketball. Only an NBA team travels more than what we do, during basketball season, and it's just a bad fit all the way around. I wish we could get out of it, and find a home somewhere else if there's a perfect world. I don't know if that's possible, but, man, it would be good. It would be good, I think, all the way around. And that's all I got to say about that. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, Jim. Good call. We appreciate you dialing in. And Garrett, that's certainly something that I don't think Jim's alone in that discussion. The challenge you just have, and I don't think Jim's totally wrong either. It's a tough fit. You're geographically not close to anything. The challenge is you just didn't have any options at the time. It wasn't as if you were choosing between multiple conferences, and you certainly didn't want to be left behind as Cincinnati and Connecticut have been. So the challenge with it, is it a perfect fit? I think the answer is obviously not, but it was the best option available to you at the time.
And that kind of is what it is at this point. And there's been talk throughout the week about TCU and WVU and the comparisons, and saying that the TCU's been at the top of the league since they've got in. West Virginia's been at the bottom. That's not true. TCU and WVU had identical records overall and in conference play in both of the first 2 years. You saw the separation last year, and even that game in Morgantown was a close game. But TCU, what you've seen over the last couple of years, they've won those close games. They've got a dominant quarterback, obviously, in Trevon Boykin. We've seen him to continue to come along. So it's not like West Virginia has been so far behind TCU from the get-go, but clearly now there is a separation between the two.
And I think that's a fair comparison. I'm okay with that comparison because you came in as two schools that had a lot of success in outside of what is now Power 5 conferences. You went to multiple BCS Bowls, both programs, and you entered the league at the same exact time. And they have, over the last 2 years, not only elevated to one of the best in the Big 12, they've elevated to one of the best in the country. So I'm okay with that comparison. I do think
I'm okay with that comparison to say it's been
that.
over 2 years, but let's not say it's been that way the entire time in the Big 12.
It hasn't, but I think that adds some more pressure to West Virginia to make sure they get this ship righted, because that's the example you're looking at. That's the easy example to point to.
And it also goes a long way when you've got a quarterback like Boykin. And let's be honest, West Virginia just doesn't have that type of a player right now.
Don't disagree with that. All right, back to the phones. Ed from Sago checking in. Ed, thanks for calling.
Hey, guys. Texas Tech has not been playing that bad lately, and Texas they've really improved since the beginning of the year. I think we're going to have a hard time even just getting bowl eligible because we have never beaten Kansas State. What do you guys think?
I think that's a great point, Ed. Thanks for calling. I think there's the challenge that sets up. Garrett, Texas Tech is not a pushover. You don't just walk in and show up and automatically get a win over Texas Tech. Texas is getting it rolling, and they're going to do some things matchup-wise that'll present some challenge from West Virginia, namely that defensive front that Texas will bring to the table, that offensive line that Texas will bring. Here's the thing, though. West Virginia has to win those games. You have to go in. Given the month you've just put together, you have to win those games, and that's not a given, but they have got to find a way to get wins. Agree or disagree?
The Texas Tech game and even the Texas game to an extent have become what Oklahoma State was in the preseason. How many times in the preseason did we look at that schedule, look at the month of October, and say if West Virginia was going to be a 9-win, if they're going to be a 10-win team at the top of the Big 12 Conference, at least competing for a title, competing for one of those top 2 or 3 or 4 spots, you had to get Oklahoma State at home. Didn't happen. Now you're dropping even down to bowl eligibility to get to 6 wins, to get to 7 wins. Mm-hmm. Texas Tech and Texas are now must wins in that category like Oklahoma State was. So you just dropped down a level.
And then to look out at further, and I've said this many times already today on other programs, we're allowed to look ahead. We're not coaches. We're not players that only have to take it one time. So we can look ahead. If you group this whole last part of the season as 5 games, it's hard for me to find one in there that's not a must-win. I think Texas Tech is ultra-critical, not just for bowl eligibility, not just to getting wins, but because you've got to snap the losing streak. Then you go on from there, and if you can't beat a Texas team that's clearly down now, what's going to happen if they get it turned around and get moving? Then, hold on. I know you want to dive in. You're going to get your chance. Hold on. Iowa State and Kansas absolutely have to beat them. You lose to them, and it's Armageddon. Agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Hold
for
on,
the
not
most
done.
part.
Hold on, not done.
Well, then don't ask me a question.
And then specifically about that that particular part, Kansas and Iowa State. Then you've got Kansas State, and Ed was right. You have not beaten them yet since joining the Big 12. I will say again, an 0-4 in league play Kansas State team that is just simply not very good. You have got to beat Kansas State. So I've got all 5 of them. Which one of those can you afford to give back at this point if you're West Virginia?
And potentially that game at Kansas State could be for bowl eligibility, not only for West Virginia, maybe even for Kansas State as well. You haven't beaten them yet in the league. It's on the road. Where's the mindset of this team going to be at that point when you're coming down to December 5th? Are they still playing hard? Are they giving up by that point? Yeah, you should, coming into this 5-game stretch, realistically, you think West Virginia should be able to sweep them, but I don't know that that's a realistic option. When I look at the offense that was out there yesterday that put up 10 points against a TCU team that gave up 52 to Texas Tech, gave up 45 to Kansas State, gave up 21 to Iowa State. 21 to Iowa State, and you came away with 10 points yesterday. So I didn't see anything that leads to me to believe in a confident manner that they'll be able to go in and win all those games. Fair?
Yeah, I do. You make a solid argument there. I think that's the way you look at this. This West Virginia team is not giving you anything right now that makes you think it's capable of winning 5 straight. That's why I'm so interested to see this Texas Tech game.
Absolutely.
What do you do when you come out with Texas Tech? Because here's the thing, Garrett, they're third in the league in scoring. They're not far behind what that TCU team was. So you're getting a team that so far through 3 quarters of the season has put up points. Now the question with Texas Tech, as it always is defensively. They're just not very good. They're giving up 40 points a game. So I think that's a real test from 2 standpoints. 1, get back with some momentum and win a game. And 2, if this offense is going to get well and start clicking, you would think there's not a better opportunity than at home against Texas Tech.
And I've said all season, I'm going to wait until after you get through that 4-game stretch and then get into this matchup against Texas Tech and Texas before I form an overall opinion on this season. And you've used the term must win against Texas Tech. But, yeah, I think you're exactly right. You're going to find out just exactly where this Mountaineer team is. Do they have the potential to get to 7 wins or even win out and get to 8 in the regular season, or are we going to have a team that's struggling to even get to a bowl game?
And if that's the case, then that's a whole other discussion. Yeah, if this is a team going into Kansas State looking to become bowl eligible, that's certainly not what you thought was coming back in August. So I think that leads to a whole other discussion. But I'll go on record now. I'll just give you all 5. I'll just give you all 5 must wins. Just hashtag it right now. Hashtag must win. All right, time to get a break in. When we come back, we'll take more of your calls, comments, questions, thoughts, vent, get anything off your chest. We're here for you. 1-800-765-8255. 1-800-765-TALK. When we come back, your calls. Stay with us.
As a cyclist, we make choices. We choose which motorcycle manufacturer to buy from. We choose what type of motorcycle we ride. We even choose where and when to ride. We also choose to ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Alcohol is involved in 50% of motorcycle fatalities in West Virginia. That's 1 in 2 drivers who die each year. Don't become a statistic. Ride straight, alcohol and drug-free. Presented by the West Virginia Department of Transportation, Governor's Highway Safety and Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Program.
This is Ken Tyree, your West Virginia State Fire Marshal. If you have a fire tonight, will you get out safely? You'll have a better chance of getting out safely if you've planned ahead. Develop a fire escape plan and practice it with your whole family. Everyone should know 2 ways out of each room and know where to meet outside. Make sure everyone understands that getting out is the first priority. Practice your home fire drill at night and during the day with everyone in your home. And remember, once you're outside, stay out. A message from the West Virginia State Fire Marshal.
All Medicare eligible individuals. It's time for open enrollment. Take advantage of the health plan's Medicare plans with benefits such as Silver Sneakers gym membership, an extensive list of doctors and hospitals. Contact us 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week at 1-877-847-7915 or visit healthplan.org/Medicare. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, copayments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits and/or copayments, coinsurance may change on January 1 of each year.
Beckley, West Virginia is in the top 10. Unfortunately, it's in the top 10 for identity theft. When someone steals your identity, they're not only able to open accounts or credit cards to go on a spending spree, they can also write bad checks, establish utilities, even file for bankruptcy in your name. Hamilton, Burgess, Young & Pollard know identity theft, and they're ready to help you fight to clear your name. With offices in Princeton and Fayetteville, Hamilton, Burgess, Young & Pollard online at hamiltonburgess.com.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. On Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
When something is missing from the picture, it doesn't make sense. Without the right people, your work site is just a site. Your office is just a space. Let's Train West Virginia has grant funding for on-the-job training in today's in-demand careers. Workers learn while they earn, and companies can be reimbursed up to $10,000 per eligible new hire. So qualified employees and satisfied employers complete the picture. Learn more at letstrainwv.com.
To navigate any map, you need a legend. Celebrating the most awarded SUV lineup ever. Jeep Cherokee, 2015 Four-Wheeler of the Year. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And introducing Jeep Renegade, the most capable small SUV ever. Now get an additional $500 bonus cash at the Jeep Celebration event. Get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Friday edition, Northside Automotive, statewide Sportsline. Brad Howe along with the G-Man, Garrett Cullen. Phone lines are jammed. I'll get to you here in 1 second, I promise. First, I got to tell you about the Northside deal of the day. They've got another tremendous deal from our friends down in Summersville, Route 19. Here it is, Garrett, 2015 Chevy Malibu 2LT. This was $30,235. Now, only $23,999. I'll do the math for you. Saves you over $6,000. Here's how you can see more of that Chevy Malibu. Head over to their Facebook page, facebook.com/NorthsideWV. You can see pictures of the car and get a link back to the website, NorthsideWV.com, and learn a little more about it. Save $6,000 on a 2015 Chevy Malibu from our friends at Northside. All right, let's get to the phone calls. We're here for you. I see you. We're coming. Let's go first. Steve in Parkersburg. Steve, thanks for calling.
Hi, fellas. How we doing?
We're good. Thank you for calling.
You know, I think everybody needs to take a little deep breath and just. I think that they better realize what they've got and be careful what they're wishing for, because if they think that Nick Saban, Rich Rodriguez, or Jimbo Fisher's coming to West Virginia, they're crazy. The only thing you're going to get is the hot assistant or a mid-major coach to come to West Virginia University. The recruiting now is way harder than what it ever has been. We're not playing the Big East. The Miami and all those guys was in the Big East before the ACC rated it. This is now the Big 12. It's big time competition, and until we can step the recruiting up, I understand that's coaching. This is how it's going to be for a few years. And Dana hit the nail on the head when he was talking about the Baylor coach the other day. They gave him 8 to 9 years, and finally he's got it turned around.
Mike's off there, Garrett. Steve, thank you for the call. We do appreciate that. Back to the phones. Let's go Thomas on his cell. Thomas, thanks for calling the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for letting me on the show. Normally I listen to the podcast,
But, after yesterday, I wanted to listen to the show live.
Well,
Going to the live version
Thank
now.
you. Thank you. We like you listen any way you'd like to listen. We're here for you.
I hear that. So I've been a fan since I was about 17. I started getting into college football. So my glory year, unfortunately, was 2007. And at this point, I think I would rather relive that Pitt game than to go through another season like this.
Yeah. Thank you, Thomas. We appreciate the call. I'll say this though, my friend. That's a tough time to get on board. You got on board nearly at the pinnacle.
You had emotional highs that year at the top and at the very bottom. So you got a little bit of everything that year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for the call. And if you would like to listen to the podcast, you can do so on iTunes, or you can go to our website, wvmetronews.com, and download the show. We'll go to John on a cell. John, thanks for calling. Welcome to the show.
Yes, my regarding last night, the kids tried hard. Defense was decimated, but the years that Holgerson's been there, the end of the half, we're in bad field position, and all you got to do is hand the ball off 3 times or take a knee. Just get out of the half and don't give up any points. This guy throws the ball, gives TCU back the ball, they kick a field goal. Now, I'm not saying the field goal made a difference in the game. It didn't. We were going to lose anyway. But it just shows how inept this guy is at clock management and use of timeouts. He is. I've been watching this team since '86 when I was a freshman at WVU. He is the worst by far at time management and handling timeouts. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Okay, thank you, John. I appreciate that. And that's a good phone call, and that's a good point. And I think you hit the nail on the head there. That didn't lose the game for West Virginia. And let me preface this, Garrett, by saying I don't profess to be a play caller, but I will say that is a curious series at the end of the half. And John's exactly right. You're down 10. You'd battled back in a little bit. There wasn't much time on the clock. You were 90 yards away. The offense hadn't been clicking. TCU only has 1 timeout. It would make some sense and seem fairly simple to run the ball a couple times, kill the clock, go into halftime, regroup, and come back out. Instead, you throw the ball, which goes incomplete, which stops the clock and helps. Then you end up running the ball. Then they get the timeout. Then you punt it away. Then you have a penalty coming out of the change of possession for illegal substitution. Give them a bonus 5 yards, which now sets up, after a couple plays, Oberkrom to have a chance to kick a career-long 57-yard field goal. I'm with John on that. That was it just wasn't a well-handled end of the half situation and hard to explain away.
Yeah, and that's fair. And there are a bunch of little things in that first half and even in the second half that just added up, which has been a common theme this entire year for West Virginia. If you want to point to penalties in the first half on third downs, one of those was a complete phantom call. But still, penalties killed you defensively when you were trying to make some things happen. And then all the drops that we saw, 3 or 4 drops, the one, a couple of them early, I'll maybe give them a bit of a pass, but certainly the one to Durant in the second half. You add all that up, and it ends up being a 30-point loss. Now, that one of those individually, absolutely not, didn't lose you the game, but you just keep adding them all up, and it's hard, impossible to overcome, especially when you're on the road against an opponent like TCU.
That's exactly right, and I think that's what's frustrating people is that it just continues to be penalties or one game, then it becomes turnovers, and then turnovers were okay last night, and special teams have been fine, but then special teams crop back up, and then it's clock management. You just have these things that continue to happen, and I think that's the difficult part and what gets people frustrated. All right, back to the phones. Tom is joining us. Tom, thanks for calling.
Hey, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Hey, I just wanted to say, as soon as I got on the phone, I don't remember who was talking, but fantastic. That's what I was going to say. It took Art Briles about 10 years to get Baylor going. But what I wanted to say is I am getting tired of West Virginia fans saying we cannot compete. It's going to take us a while, but we can. I will admit it's not a geographical fit where we're at, but it's much more of a cultural fit than where we were in the Big East.
Okay, Tom, thank you for the call. And yeah, there's a point to that. I mean, there are you could make the argument that there are more like institutions in the Big 12 than there was in the Big East. And quite frankly, that's one of the reasons the Big East fell apart, is you just had too many schools that were too different from each other. So I think that's well said. Not a geographic fit, but like institutions, okay, I'll buy that.
And the comparison to Baylor, though, is a little bit hard for me, just because West Virginia and Baylor were at two completely different points when Art Briles took over at Baylor and when Dana Holgorsen took over at West Virginia. It's a West Virginia team that's used to being in BCS bowls from the Big East days, and I know you change conferences and that really changes things up, but in terms of fan expectations and where the program wants to be and thinks it should be, much higher level than what Baylor was when Art Briles was. So the patience is there for Art Briles to build that thing at Baylor, whereas you didn't have that.
Yeah, and
here.
I'll even go a step further. It wasn't just expectations here; it was results. I mean, this was program that was winning, and don't call me with the Big East stuff. Don't do it. I'm tired of hearing that. I get that the Big 12 is good. That Big East wasn't as bad as people are making it out to either. So you had a West Virginia program that was used to winning, that is now not. Baylor, don't undersell Baylor. That was one of the worst programs in America. And so, so you're going to get some more patience. And again, guys, it's a different day and age. Getting 9 years now, and back up, not even getting 9 years, having coaches stay around 9 and 10 years just doesn't happen nearly as often as it did before. So,
and you look at TCU, Gary Patterson, 15 years.
That's rare. That's right. Actually, the bulk of them are in the Big 12. The Big 12 has more than nationally. When you start to look at Bob Stoops, Bill Snyder, you have some longevity in the Big 12 that you don't see at most places around the country. And what's happened, as the salaries and the money flowing into college football have gone up, the time frame is compressed. You just don't have the patience that you once did because the money's so great. And that's just a fact of the matter. And we can lament that it's not like it was before, but that's just the fact of the matter. Patience is thin, and you don't get as much time maybe as you once did. That said, Dana Holgorsen has been here 5 years. That's a generally accepted time. It's a full recruiting class. You've had your guys in the program. So I think that's fair that if Shane Lyons is evaluating the job Dana Holgorsen's doing, now's an appropriate time to be doing that. Back to the phones real quick. Bob joining us. Bob, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hey, super. You guys are beyond super. I thank you. Thank you so much. Now, I'm being straight on this.
Yes.
These Mountaineers, I want you to look ahead. These Mountaineers wrap it up 8-4 this season. I hope you agree with me. And I hope that the Mohegans roll tonight with the Hawks. Thank you so much now. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Bob. We appreciate you checking in. Bob, see, Bob's got him down. Got a 5-game winning streak coming from Bob. Back to phones, another quick one before we hit a break. Bill's calling in. Bill, thanks for calling. Bill, you with us?
Yeah, I'm
okay,
here. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for calling.
Our coach is out of his element. Ray Charles could have seen that. I mean, it's just the way it is. The thing that I want to say is that going on the road and losing to 2 top 5 teams does not make you a bad program. Good teams do that. Mm-hmm. And it's not an issue with me as a casual fan of patience. The thing is, we are not getting better. That's the thing. I don't care if it's baby steps. I'm fine with that. I understand the limitations of trying to recruit players in the Big 12 to Morgantown. We're not getting better. 5 years in, however many games into this season, it's the same procedure penalties. It's the same undisciplined play. It's the same coach that he does not know what to do, how to make adjustments, what plays to call and when, and neither do I. I'm just a fat guy on the couch.
You're not getting paid $3 million.
That's exactly right. And the thing is, maybe it is a difficult task, but it's a task that he's being paid well to do. And don't you just want to get better? I mean, Kansas State's down this year, and that happens. You lose players. You have a quarterback. But we've got a JUCO transfer as our quarterback 5 years into the program. Does nobody else? I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a very fair and logical and reasonable call. And I think that's one of the biggest points, quite frankly, Bill. Excellent phone call. Thank you for checking in with us. I think that's the point, Garrett. You've got to see some improvement. And at least in this 4-game stretch, I can't say that I've seen improvement at this point.
Yeah, and you haven't, and you want to go back to last night specifically. I mean, you give up 40 points to TCU defensively. You've got some injuries back there. Okay. I mean, I came into that game yesterday. If West Virginia was going to win, they were going to have to score more than 40 points.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely, they would.
I agree.
But offensively was where the disappointment is, because if you want to just stick to this season, we haven't seen improvements there. And even Coach Holgerson said about it after the game, said he was failing at his job as on the offensive side of the ball as an acting offensive coordinator to get the ball moving. And we've seen that problem just continue to get worse here. And Baylor game, I took that one a little better. It was 62-38, and that was just a really good Baylor offense. But I was just more disappointed with the offensive side of the ball yesterday.
Yep, absolutely. All right, got to squeeze a final break in here. We're back after this. Stay with us.
Good-paying jobs with great benefits are available now. As a correctional officer with the West Virginia Division of Corrections, you'll also have educational opportunities for a degree in criminal justice at reduced prices. High school diploma or GED and drug screening required. Take advantage of an accelerated hiring and training process that other state agencies don't offer. National Guard members get partial credit in the Training Academy. Visit WVDOC.com.
To navigate any map, you need a legend like the capable Jeep Cherokee, 4-Wheeler Magazine's 2015 4-Wheeler of the Year, and Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever, with best-in-class 30 mpg highway and 730-mile driving range. So you can push even farther into uncharted and unmapped territory. Get a great deal on the most awarded and legendary SUV lineup ever at the Jeep Celebration event. Well-qualified lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2015 Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 with 24 mpg highway for $299 a month for 39 months with $24.99 due at signing, tax, title, and license extra. The Jeep SUV lineup has received more awards in its lifetime than any other competitive SUV lineup. EPA estimated 4x2 with available EcoDiesel V6 and 24.6-gallon fuel tank. Call 1-888-925-JEEP for details. Requires dealer contribution on lease through Chrysler Capital. 25-cent charge for each mile over 32,500. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 11/2. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
All Medicare eligible individuals. It's time for open enrollment. Take advantage of the health plan's Medicare plans with benefits such as Silver Sneakers gym membership, an extensive list of doctors and hospitals. Contact us 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week at 1-877-847-7915 or visit healthplan.org/Medicare. This information is not a complete description of benefits. Contact the plan for more information. Limitations, copayments, and restrictions may apply. Benefits and/or copayments, coinsurance may change on January 1 of each year.
Beckley, West Virginia is in the top 10. Unfortunately, it's in the top 10 for identity theft. When someone steals your identity, they're not only able to open accounts or credit cards to go on a spending spree, they can also write bad checks, establish utilities, even file for bankruptcy in your name. Hamilton, Burgess, Young & Pollard know identity theft, and they're ready to help you fight to clear your name. With offices in Princeton and Fayetteville, Hamilton, Burgess, Young & Pollard online at hamiltonburgess.com.
You know who taught me to use a hands-free device while driving? My mom. She scared me to death all through school with that phone up to her ear, driving us back and forth. Now that I'm on the road solo, I tell my mom, I'm worried about you. Go hands-free with the phone when you're driving. I do. It's important to set a good example for parents, so when she rides with me, I turn it off, put it down, and just drive.
The West Virginia Department of Transportation, saving one life at a time.
The Northside Automotive statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes. On Metro News. For 30 years, the voice of West Virginia.
Almost there. Just 5 more minutes. Almost home.
Statistics show that 80% of auto fatalities occur close to home on rural roads.
Cops.
That's why law enforcement is stepping up rural patrols and cracking down on impaired driving. If you are over the limit, you are under arrest because drinking and driving don't mix. Remember, over the limit, under arrest. This message brought to you by the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
To navigate any map, you need a legend celebrating the most awarded SUV lineup ever. Jeep Cherokee, 2015 4-Wheeler of the Year. Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most awarded SUV ever. And introducing Jeep Renegade, the most capable small SUV ever. Now get an additional $500 bonus cash at the Jeep Celebration event. Get 0% financing for 72 months or $3,500 total cash allowance on the 2015 Jeep Cherokee Limited.
When something is missing from the picture, it doesn't make sense. Without the right people, your work site is just a site. Your office is just a space. Let's Train West Virginia has grant funding for on-the-job training in today's in-demand careers. Workers learn while they earn, and companies can be reimbursed up to $10,000 per eligible new hire. So qualified employees and satisfied employers complete the picture. Learn more at letstrainwv.com.
Welcome back in. Final couple minutes. Northside Automotive, Statewide Sportsline. Brad Howe, Garrett Cullen along with you. Reminder coming up at 9:30 this evening. High school game night. Fred Persinger, Dave Jecklin, Garrett Cullen. Garrett, what do you have coming up on game night this evening?
Got a nice little set of games, and even last night we had a game. Cabell Midland beat Parkersburg 62-7. Devin Stapleton's continuing to have a nice year. He had 262 rushing yards, 80 receiving yards, 6 total touchdowns. So that was last night as the Knights continue to roll. You look to some of the games in AAA this evening. George Washington, Spring Valley will be a good game. George Washington coming off that loss to Cabell Midland by 40 points last week. Close loss for Spring Valley last week to Capital, so both those teams looking to bounce back. Princeton at Greenbrier East, our Northside Automotive Metro News Class AAA game of the week, because that's a huge game for both of those teams trying to get into playoffs. Princeton, first time, I believe, since 2009. Greenbrier East, first time since 1998, if they could get into that playoff picture. So Princeton, probably even a bigger game for them, as they've got Point Pleasant coming up next week. So if they could get the win over Greenbrier East, that'd put them in a better position before heading into that final week of the regular season. You looked at AA, several good games there. Our game of the week has Fairmont Senior on the road at Bridgeport. All kinds of athletes there. Nick Davison, Dom Smith, Bryson Gilbert for Fairmont Senior, Dylan Tonkery, Dante Bonamico for Bridgeport. We had both of them on the high school sports line back on Wednesday. A couple of other interesting games. Number 5, James Monroe at Bluefield. Bluefield coming in at number 4. And then number 6, Mingo Central at 7-1. At number 10, Herbert Hoover at 6-2. Mingo Central offensively has just been lights out. 515 total yards of offense per game. Stevie Hammond has over 2,000 yards of offense on the season, 32 total touchdowns, so that's a good one in AA. And then you look to single A, a couple of intriguing games there. Our game of the week, number 6, Pendleton County at 7-2, on the road at number 3, Moorfield. And Mantuck Valley, an 8-9, a pivotal game as well for those playoff seedings as we're coming up in just a couple weeks.
All right, good stuff. Gee, thank you. That'll do it for tonight. If you missed any part of the show, remember you can catch the podcast on iTunes or visit our website, wvmetronews.com, and download tonight's show. Thanks for all the calls, tweets. Garrett, I thought the calls were excellent tonight.
Yeah,
good
very
job
on
by
point.
everybody out there.
Yep.
Outstanding. Thanks to Deborah Martinelli on the video, J.R. Falls on the phones, and a final reminder, high school game night with Fred, Dave, and Garrett comes up at 9:30 this evening. I'll be back with you Sunday night at 6:06 and joined as usual by Coach Hunter. For Garrett, I'm Brad Howe. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your weekend. We're out.